once again to Spicy Talk with Onwadia. I am your love doctor, and here I help you build and maintain a healthy relationship and marriage, which is why I'll be bringing a very interesting topic to you today. Something that has really affected couples and has destroyed lots of home. Sex. Sex is a vital part of our relationship and a way of connecting with our spouse. It is a way of expressing our love and giving love or showing love to our loved ones or our spouse. It satisfies our strong emotional need and a way of expressing love in order to achieve orgasmic pleasure with our loved ones. A life or a marriage without sex can be so boring, can be so lonely. There are reasons why several couples have lost touch or the spark in their marriage. Sex has become boring, sex has become a burden. And you begin to wonder, why are you together? Why are you even married? Why are you with your spouse? Why are you starving yourself of sex? Now let us look at the reasons why couples have found themselves in sexless marriage and how they can get out of it and revitalize that emotional pleasure back into their marriage. There is this saying that divorce starts from the bedroom and ends in the courtroom. A sexless marriage is a situation whereby one spouse, one partner is not interested in sexual activities in the marriage, starving your partner, depriving your partner of their conjugal rights. It's not a thing one should be proud of. Now, one of the reasons why couples have found themselves stuck in sexless marriage is communication. By communication, I mean you not being able to communicate your feelings to your spouse. You not being able to express what you feel and how you want to be pleasured, thereby leaving yourself so rigid. Communicate your feelings. Open up to your spouse. If you notice your spouse is not meeting up to your expectations when it comes to pleasure, why don't you open up? Communication is key in marriage. Sex is something that we must discuss. Like it's a must, we must talk about it. If you don't talk about it, it becomes a burden. A lot of women, especially, complain about sex. It becomes a burden to them. It's more like an obligation. It's something that should be enjoyed and not to be endured. You don't have any reason not to enjoy this God-given pleasure as a couple. So why don't you open up to your spouse? Why don't you express your feelings to your spouse? Discuss it. Tell your spouse how you want to be pleasured, the positions you want, how you want it. Open up. Pour out your heart to your spouse. If your spouse is not meeting up, open up and discuss it. Sometimes too much burden in the heart can deprive one of enjoying this sexual pleasure. The next thing is unresolved conflicts. By this I mean anger, quarrel, misunderstandings, unforgiveness. These things are killer of sexual pleasure. It can lead to sexless marriage when you don't resolve your differences. You don't resolve your conflicts early. You don't forgive and you have so much in your heart. It's a burden in your chest. How can you make love with your spouse when you don't forgive him or her? How do you make love when you are filled with anger and resentment towards your spouse? How can you enjoy the beautiful pleasure of sex when you don't even talk to each other? These things are serious killers. A lot of couples have been in marriage for years and ask them how many times have they had sex in a year. Sometimes once. It's so sad and heartbreaking to hear that couples are married and they hardly have sex. Sometimes twice a year or even once. The worst case, they don't even at all. They have become strangers in their homes. They barely live like a couple. They just live for the children. Live together, but are enemies of themselves, depriving their body the pleasure that it needs. Resolve your differences. Settle your issues. Forgive easily. Don't hold grudges. Forgive, don't resent your spouse. By this, when you do this, you discover that your sex life will be revitalized. Next one is stress. You will get so carried away with our jobs, our careers, our hobbies, our lifestyle, so many things. We get so distracted that we relinquish the role of sex to the back, to the back. We are too busy for our spouse. We are too busy to make love. We are too busy to connect. Sex bridges the gap, and sexless life widens gap between couples. You must create time for sex. It is very vital. You are starving your partner, your spouse, because you are too busy. You are too carried away. Every other thing is important to you except sex. I have heard a lot of women say, is sex food? Like, seriously? If sex is not food, why was it created? Why did God give us that pleasure? If sex is not food, why do you complain when you find your spouse looking out? Sex is food. So we must try to create time to enjoy our sexual life. Without it, look, your marriage will be so lonely and boring. There won't be life in it. Sex is the life wire of every marriage. It is the life wire that sparks our marital lives, that gives shine and beautify our marital lives. You cannot do without sex. It is better to remain unmarried than to be married and lying next to a spouse who is not willing. Make out time out of every other thing. Sex should come number one in your marital life. Next is constant rejection. A situation whereby you reject your spouse over and over again. It can kill their sexual libido. It can kill their sexual desires towards you. Rejection makes you feel unwanted. It makes you feel so low of yourself. It makes you begin to question your ability in marriage. Outright rejection kills one's self-esteem. It kills your sexual desires. If you are going to say no, make a reason. Give him or her the reason for saying no. And if the reason is not tangible enough, why don't you let it go? Sex is to be enjoyed. It's not an obligation. It's not a job. It is a lifestyle in marriage. When you say no, give a reason to your spouse. Make them understand why. That way they will feel better. And then create an alternative. If you cannot go in, there are many ways to pleasure your spouse. Don't just say no, you are not in the mood. Constantly saying no and rejecting your spouse will make them come to a time where they lack the desire to even make any move. Rejection kills. It hurts. As a man, don't reject your wife when she makes advances at you. As a woman, don't reject your husband given the excuse of stress, of headache, or of not being in the mood, or having a mood swing. Whatever it is, try to discuss it. Let your spouse know. Don't just say no and then you turn your back. Like, it kills. Another killer of sexual desires that can lead to sexless marriage is not paying attention to your physical look. Nobody wants to make love to somebody who is not appealing. Pay attention to your body. Dress well, smell nice. Clean up. Take your bath frequently, especially before having sex. Get a mouthwash. You want it to be pleasurable. You want your spouse to enjoy kissing. Look, foreplay is an essential part of sex. Before going into sex proper, create time for foreplay. And with that, you want to be able to consume yourselves. You want to be able to pay so much attention to your bodies. So much kissing, smooching, licking, sucking, all that. When your spouse is not neat, it kills the sexual desire. When you are not neat, it kills the sexual desire. The appeal is not there. Sex is appealing to your body. So pay attention and make sure you're physically fit so you can move around, so you can try out different sexual positions. Staying fit is not staying slim. It's the ability to move your body, the ability to control your body, to maneuver yourselves in the bedroom. It gives you energy when you're physically fit. So pay attention to your mouth, to your armpits, to your private parts. Wash clean, smell nice, look clean. That way, your partner is always in the mood to pounce on you, always in the mood to pleasure you. Pay attention to your physical appearance. Very important. Pain that can kill sexual desire and lead to sexless marriage is the inability to be adventurous, inability to be wide, to express your sexual life. Adventure, be adventurous. Be ready to take your sexual lives to the next level. Be ready to fulfill your sexual fantasies and desires. Be wide. Be creative. Sex is an art. Be adventurous. Try out new skills, new sexual positions, new styles. Don't be rigid. Don't tie yourself to just one position. It kills the desire. Today, come up with something different. Tell your hubby you want it this way. Tell your wife I want to try out something new. And be open to it. Be open to receive your partner. Don't say no. Don't say, I can't try this. Don't say you can't do it. Until you try, you never can tell. So why don't you go ahead and try something new? Put in something beautiful that will spark in your sexual life. And the next in is unhealthy lifestyle. By this I mean getting yourself into unhealthy habits like eating junks, too much sodas. Cut down from substances, they are not good for you. Too much alcohol in your bloodstream kills your sexual libido. Rather, imbibe in healthy foods like vegetables, like fruits. Go in on some natural things that will boost your sexual libido. Unhealthy lifestyle is a killer of sexual desire. When you cut this, you'll be able to enjoy your sexual life. Another is incompatibility when it comes to libido. Most couples have high libido and their spouse low libido. This incompatibility has brought stagnation into sexual life. When you're not compatible, it becomes a problem. A man whose libido is low will not always be in the mood to pleasure his or her spouse. A woman who has low libido will not be in the mood because the desire is not there. You are not, you are not raved up. Because of that, you starve your spouse. And by this, what do you end up doing? You push him or her. You make them want to get the pleasure elsewhere. Reason why a lot of people have sex toys to pleasure themselves because the spouse is not ready. Some go out there leading to extramarital affair, which can destroy the very fabric and foundation of your marriage. When your libido is low, it's not an excuse to deprive your spouse of their sexual pleasure and fulfillment. Try and boost up your sexual libido. It's possible. Go on natural things like natural honey, dates, cloves. Those things have a way of boosting your sexual libido. Go on natural stuff. Take fruit if you're dry. A lot of women are dry down there. So why don't you read about things that can, make you wet and make you feel horny to desire your spouse? When you're dry, the desire is not there. So sexual libido is a big problem. So what do? Boost it so you can be on the same frequency with your spouse. So you'll be able to meet up with their sexual needs. So you don't end up pushing your spouse outside to go, begin to have extramarital affair. Finally, seduce and flirt with each other. Seduce your spouse. Flirt around. Marriage is the only place where you are licensed to do anything with yourselves. Seduce your spouse. Put on some sexy stuff, especially sexy underwears and panties. Flirt with your spouse as a man. How do you do this? Drop notes. Say naughty words. Be dirty with yourselves. Nobody is there watching. It's just the two of you. Create fun. Be happy. Enjoy yourselves. Flirt if your partner is not in the mood. There are ways women flirt around their spouse and then you arouse him. Even if he's rigid and not in the mood, your flirtatious, behavior get him aroused. And the men, you can't stop seducing your wives. Seduce her like you used to do when you nearly got married or when you were dating. Seduce her. Please, sex is very important. And whatever you can do to pleasure each other in order to achieve that maximum pleasure, go ahead and do it. With that, I will say, when two people truly desire each other and their hearts are truly open, sex becomes so easy. It becomes appealing. It becomes the most beautiful thing you both can enjoy. I am your love doctor. For now, I say bye-bye till I come your way again with another exciting topic. Stay blessed.